Editorial Projects in Education, Inc., Stephanie Hemmingson is the Director of Audience Development for Education Week. Education Week has been the go-to source for news and information on K-12 policy and practice for over 30 years. And it has a strong following of administrators, policymakers, education product and service providers, philanthropists, and other movers and shakers. With Education Week's expanded coverage on industry and innovation, we hope to reach even more of you here with the information you need to make important decisions that ultimately impact student learning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stephanie Hemmingson.
Thank you for coming today, everyone. Education Week has been the go-to source for news and information in the K-12 marketplace for over 30 years. We're the market leader in K-12 news and information, and we're the only publisher who covers the depth and breadth of what is happening in the K-12 space. From Common Core to digital curriculum, ed tech to leadership, from the schoolhouse to the state house, we're the one independent, unbiased source on policy and practice. We also provide benchmark reports on school quality and on graduation rates with our annual reports, quality counts, and graduation counts. K-12 leaders and policymakers rely on these reports for critical benchmarking. Several years ago, we started to see a shift in the landscape of K-12, some accelerators, if you will. And these shifts will come as no surprise to you because you're living through it. But some of the things we started to identify were faster adoption of technology and innovation, spurred on by new developments in technology, to be sure, but also by race to the top and I3. There's also been a huge increase in investment in K-12 from $13 million in 2005 to what we heard from Michael Moe this morning, $1.125 billion in 2012. And finally, there's been a huge push with public-private partnerships. Education Week has a unique vantage point because we're in the field every day talking to K-12 leaders, policymakers, practitioners, and innovators. And because of this vantage point and our ability to survey the various parts of this market, we began to see some points of intersection. No surprise, for example, that one huge point of intersection with all these groups is the interest in innovation. And also, no surprise, is that both of these groups have a strong familiarity with specific innovation concepts like blended learning, digital textbooks, flipped classroom, race to the top, and so on. But from our unique vantage point, we could also identify some gaps. While we do know that K-12 leaders are very familiar with innovation concepts, they were much less familiar with market leaders and who they are. Of course, that's not very good for the people who are at this conference. We also found a gap between where the two groups would be interested in seeing much more investment. When asked the question, if you had $100 million to invest in the K-12 industry overall, not in your specific company or organization, where would you like to invest? K-12 leaders responded very differently from innovators. K-12 leaders were much more likely to want to invest in teachers, and specifically in teacher professional development, in onboarding, in compensation and evaluation. On the other hand, education companies were much more likely to want to see more investment in software, and specifically in blended learning, in personalized learning, and in gaming. What what these gaps identified for us as an independent trusted news source is that we need to cover more about the K-12 marketplace and new approaches to schooling. So in early 2012, Education Week Industry and Innovation was born. There's now a great amount of coverage that we devote to industry and innovation. It's not as if we were ignoring this coverage before, we just are doing a whole lot more of it intensely. So we're covering more in the pages of Education Week, and we also have a whole online channel dedicated to industry and innovation. And that was launched in September of last year, and we've had over 1 million page views to the coverage that we have in that online channel of our website. We also have a monthly e-newsletter, and that goes to over 100,000 subscribers every month. And we have 5 dynamic blogs covering various aspects of industry and innovation. Those dynamic blogs include Marketplace K-12 and Digital Education, and those are written by our staff writers, Katie Ash and Sean Kavanaugh, who are here today. You guys want to wave to the crowd? Okay. We also have a blog on innovation by Tom Vanderarf, a blog on reimagining K-12 by Matt Greenfield and Tom Siegel, and EdTech Researcher by Justin Reich. So these blogs and the additional coverage that we have on our Industry and Innovation channel are all bringing together the useful information that you need to make decisions and analyze the growth of this industry. I hope those of you who are here today are already following us and getting your monthly e-newsletter, and if not, it's very easy to sign up. You go to www.edweek.org/II for Industry and Innovation, and you just go to the big yellow box on the right that says register, and you sign up there. Coming out this week is our second special report on innovation titled When Public Mission Meets Private Opportunity. So stay tuned for that, and we'll send you a copy of that next week when that's published. Education Week is a mission-driven organization with the ultimate goal of improving student outcomes. And our role to play in that is to provide you with the information you need to develop products and services that will make a difference in the market. We're announcing today a new industry and innovation product that will help subscribers improve their return on education. This product will provide an in-depth reporting of where progress is being made. It will provide an inside look at the process of product development and implementation. You will get to know the players in the industry and in school leadership and policy. We'll help you size up the market for key segments. And finally, we'll give you insight on trends. This product is called Education Week Industry and Innovation Market Intelligence Service, and it will be launching in the fall of 2013. If you'll drop me a business card today, I'll be happy to keep you informed about the development of the product and let you know how to become a charter subscriber. Thank you very much.
UCU.com. UCU is a web-based assignment-focused application that helps instructors engage students more deeply in the learning process for distance learning, blended learning, and in classroom situations through the creative use of student capture. Please welcome Dr. Jeff Lewis, Chief Learning Officer, UCU.com. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I would like to introduce to you a product that's launching this month, and we call it our Breckenridge 2.0 platform. To give you a little background, we're at 2.0. We started at 1.0 in 2009. UCU is a concept of how do you get students involved in an asynchronous online class using student-generated video. And so our concept is really around the principle of student capture. I'm sure familiar with the term lecture capture, what we do is come at it from the student perspective, and students are contributing video for assignments, for engagement, for assessments in a lot of different ways. So I want to introduce to you our platform, give you just a brief history of how we arrived where we are today. I'm a professor. I'm the founder of UCU and also serve as the Chief Learning Officer. Our CEO, Jay Doctor, is also here for additional conversations. But as a professor, an idea incubated within me for over 10 years. That was in terms of how do you solve student engagement in asynchronous online classes. My experience was that asynchronous online classes were all about text-based interaction, text-based assignments, text-based discussion, text-based everything. And with my classes, I teach business communication, entrepreneurship, management. I always had to have some sort of oral communication assessment. And so to do that, students were contributing video, all the way back to sending in VHS tapes, DVDs, flash drives, a number of different ways of sending in video, but none of them put that student activity within the context, within an academic context. So that's what UCU is all about. What we're launching here is UCU Breckenridge 2.0, which is the evolution of a product that was launched in 2009, and based on feedback that we received from early customers, such as Penn State World Campus, University of Phoenix, and more recently, University of Southern California, BYU. We've been able to meld that feedback and requests from educators and students into a platform that we believe has the potential of transforming online learning moving forward. And so that's our mission, is to transform the online learning experience with an asynchronous environment centered on user-generated video, so that you can conduct high engagement activities like the Harvard case study method, oral communication assessment, and applied skill development in disciplines such as nursing and education. We are student capture, and so it's about students contributing video into the learning process, but we also facilitate educators using video to communicate with and inform their students. We're a patent-pending video-centric learning management system used to facilitate all class activities, but our primary focus is also on extending the functionality of a learning management system. So we have deep integration with the leading learning management systems such as Blackboard, Desire to Learn, Instructor Canvas. We have the ability to extend the functionality in those learning management systems to include these rich assignments that can be facilitated through UCU. So I'd like to show a demonstration video that gives you some background or gives you a feel for what we do. We're very person-oriented, and so a lot of photos and videos from the students. Here you see a organizer page that helps the students stay on track based on the date and time that they've logged in at. This part of the demonstration focuses on one of our most unique features that we bring to online learning, and that's our question and answer situation, or question and answer feature. So what you see here is the educator has prepared a recorded video question, and that's being delivered in the left-hand window. The student is in the right-hand window, and they have activated their webcam, and they're going to be on the spot. And so as soon as the educator's video is done playing, that's going to put the student on the spot to answer the question. So there's no other feature like this available to get that authentic type response from a student in this asynchronous environment. So you can see in the screen right now, the student has had several seconds to collect their thoughts, but now they are responding to the question. One of the features is to be able to dial in how much of a response are you looking for. And in this situation, it's timed for 30 seconds. And so you can see the countdown timer where the student has 30 seconds to present their answer. We have taken control of the webcam and the video, and so the student doesn't have the opportunity to do a do-over or to edit their video. You're really seeing their authentic response to the question. And this type of feature has caught the attention of leading schools such as BYU, University of Southern California, and even Harvard University. After the students have contributed their video, then it comes time for a peer review and peer feedback. And so this screenshot demonstrates the students listening to each other's videos, really just 30-second videos, so it doesn't demand a lot of time to listen to a team or a classmate's videos. but as they listen to each other, they learn from others. And so we're one of the best platforms to engage with a flipped classroom mentality or principle. This is an aspect of the system, so it's not just about business classes, but here you see a nursing student demonstrating her ability to process an insulin injection. And so it's about application. It's about students being able to apply what they learn and demonstrate what they learn through video in order to get and then rich grading from an educator. Now I've kind of flipped over to the educator side, and every activity can start with an explanation from an educator. So instead of having to rely solely on text-based instructions, the educator has the ability to record themselves giving instructions for their assignment and use that as rich communication flowing from the educator to the students. Here's an example of an expert mini lecture. And so this is Kevin Reddy, CEO of Noodles & Company. He's explaining a concept from franchising and has the ability to incorporate that to facilitate discussion within the class. This is another assignment type or activity type called presentation. And so here the student has recorded themselves delivering a presentation. Our tool set allows them to synchronize visual aids to that video, and then as it's being watched by either peers or by the educator, we have a feature called Sync Comments, which allows you to dial in specific feedback to the student by timestamping feedback for that process. And so what you see now is the Sync Comments feature, which I believe is the best possible way of helping somebody improve their oral communication skills. We can also see how that could be a part of the flipped classroom as students do deliver presentations to help each other. This last piece I wanted to demonstrate has to do with feedback from the educator to the students. And so after they've started by providing video instructions, the students have submitted a video for an assignment or an activity. Now the educator, with just a click, can activate his or her webcam and now record a message back specifically to that student. So you're closing that feedback loop using easy to record, easy to share video from all participants in this software as a service model, hosted by UCU and used for the benefit of helping the students learn more, because now they're more engaged. Instead of an asynchronous class, which is primarily text-based, now they've been able to engage with rich verbal and nonverbal communication from start to finish in order to get more from the class that they're working with. So last slide here is just to give you an overview of the types of activities and applications that are taking place within UCU. We've seen question and answer, which has to do with case study method. You see presentations, check for understanding, but we also see activities such as sales training and pitches, interviewing practice through the question and answer feature, practicing legal arguments or demonstrating your ability to do legal arguments through these recorded videos. So there's really unlimited possibilities for how UCU can benefit an online class. And what we found that it's going more from just online classes into blended learning and even face-to-face or residential classes. Educators, administrators that have recognized the value embedded within the UCU platform, using those tools for reaching as many students as possible. So wanted to give you just a quick overview of who we are and what we do. Really appreciate the opportunity to engage with you, either at a strategic partnership level, investor level, or even most importantly, helping out an educator, a professor, instructional designer to improve the experience for the students that you work with on a daily basis. Thanks for listening and hope to meet you soon.
Smarter scores and validates digital, social, and technical skills using crowdsourced test design and an adaptive scoring algorithm similar to the one used to rank chess masters. I'd like to introduce Sarah Hodges, who's the head of marketing for Smarter. Thank you.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Sarah Hodges. I'm the head of marketing at Smarter, and I am so excited to be here with such a captive audience today. It's really exhilarating. So everybody here today has a few superpowers. You probably picked some up at your university, maybe you took a class on Udemy, you participated in an online course. We're all accumulating a rich map of skills every day. But there's still a big problem. There's no easy way to prove what you know, to prove just how good you are at those skills. What's the difference between good and great? That's where Smarter steps in. So in 10 questions, in about 120 seconds, Smarter can quantify any skill, anything. And there we go. Awesome. So classical testing models are old school. They're rigid, they're slow, they're pretty boring, and they just can't keep pace with the rapidly evolving learning tools that are emerging every day. New learning models need a new learning paradigm. They need a paradigm that's fast, that's fun, and that's flexible. And that's where Smarter steps in. We've created a testing engine that solves this problem. It has 3 core components. The first is crowdsourced tests. So we employ the power of the crowd to create our tests. Anyone, anywhere can create a test about anything and can add questions to any of our tests. That way we're culling the collective knowledge of the best and brightest minds to create a very rich batch of questions that we can put out for testers. Okay, and every test in our system goes through a rigorous vetting process. So we turn to the power of the crowd to create our test questions, and we also turn to them to vet our test questions. So you can see here, every time a user answers a question, they can indicate the quality of the question, and it passes through until it meets our standards, and we're ready to release it to the general test-taking population. The second component of our platform is adaptive scoring. So we've built a scoring methodology based on item response theory. What that means is that we match the difficulty of our questions to a user's skill level. So every time a user answers a question, based on their response, we serve up an easier or a harder question, constantly calibrating their score. At the same time, we're calibrating the difficulty level of our questions, which ultimately means that with every question answered, our system gets stronger. The last and final component of our platform is badges. So every good superhero needs a badge to show off their powers, and every student should have a badge to show off their skills. So in our system, every score corresponds to a skill level. We have masters, beginners, proficient level, and every user receives a badge at the end of their test-taking experience to go out and show off their skills. So we're growing. We've seen rapid momentum over the past 18 months. We've seen 800 tests created, we've seen 2 million tests taken, and we've seen 20 million questions answered. You'll see it, it's coming. Awesome. So Smarter is not new. We've been around for 18 months. What is new is that we're opening up our can of testing whoop-ass and letting you incorporate it into your platform, making your system stronger too. So I'm going to walk you through the components of our API, which we've just rolled out. So first we have tests, a widget, scores, badges, and skill sets. So I mentioned this before, but just to reiterate, we have over 800 crowdsourced tests that you can choose from to integrate directly into your product or platform. If you don't see a test you like, you can actually create your own test in our system about any content that you're delivering to students. And it'll go through our vetting process, and then you'll have a custom test that you can use to test the content that you're giving out to students. So this is an example of how you can put that to work. Financial Times recently integrated with us. They're owned by Pearson. And they wanted to test the proficiency of their readers at the content that they consumed on their website. So how knowledgeable are you about world affairs? So they created this worldwide test, integrated it into their system, and now they can test the knowledge of all of their readers and use that as a sticky engagement mechanism to bring people back to the site. There's more. The second component is our widget. So the widget is really just an easy way to pipe this content into your platform. So in 3 simple steps, you can select a test. It can be one that you created for your own content, or it can be one of our 800 crowdsourced tests. You take a snippet of JavaScript and you throw it into your site, and you can pop it up in an iframe on your site. I am incredibly tech light, not great at this stuff at all, and this is my personal blog, and I integrated this widget in about 5 minutes, so it really is simple. Next up, scores. So there's a world of possibility with what you can do with smarter scores. You really can incorporate them into your site in any way imaginable. I've kind of put this up here as an example of one way that you could incorporate scores. This is the Code Poet site, where they have a WordPress quiz right on their site that any developer can take. And they've created their own leaderboard where they're showing the users who've taken the test how they stack up against one another, creating a really fun engagement mechanism on their site. Similar to scores, you can incorporate our smarter badges into your platform. This is an example, a sample integration that we did with About.me. We've connected Smarter to About.me, and you can pull your scores in directly through our badges into your profile, which adds a lot of color and life to a user profile showing off their skills. Okay, so we all know there's a bridge between education and hiring, and Smarter is there to fill that gap. And we've heard from recruiters over and over again that they wanted the ability to use our skill tests to vet candidates. So we created this new product, Skill Sets. What Skill Sets does is it allows you to create a custom cluster of skill tests that are a one-to-one match with the job opening that allow recruiters to vet candidate skills at the top of the hiring funnel. So imagine you can completely eliminate first-round interviews from your hiring process by just being able to very rapidly sort out candidates who have the right skill set. That's what Skill Sets does. So the process behind a skill set is you create the cluster of skills that map to your job description, you share them with candidates take the test, and then right in your Smarter skill set dashboard, you can sort the scores, quickly identifying high performers in your process. So that's skill sets in a nutshell. This is an example of an integration we did with an ATS provider, the Resumator. The Resumator has actually plugged this in directly in the job description creation process so that recruiters can plug it straight into their job description, having candidates take the test when they're applying for the job. So, it's clear. The new learning models that are evolving are emerging so rapidly, there's no way that classical testing can possibly keep up with them. It's time for a new model. It's time for Smarter. If you're interested in the API and you want more information, you can check it out at smarter.com/developers. All our documentation is there. I'm also happy to answer any questions. And if this presentation has just completely captivated your attention today and you are incredibly interested in learning more about Smarter, our exec chair, Dave Valter, will be presenting on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, at 10 a.m. So definitely check out his session. I believe these slides will be online. My information's here, and I'd love to meet you at the conference. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sarah. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys. Can you take that off? Thanks.
LaunchED series this afternoon. Next up, we have Stormwind. Stormwind is a Phoenix, Arizona-based company that brings live interactive HD video production to the world of e-learning. Using their proprietary technology, Stormwind delivers interactive training that creates a truly personal, engaging classroom experience to achieve a real knowledge transfer. Please welcome Ron Boneline, VP Sales for Stormwind. Thank you.
Thank you. We're Stormwind, and we tell stories, and we tell them using digital media and technology.
Hey, let's go check out the Capitol building.
Hi, Rakesh. Right, so what are we listening for?
I know you don't want to repeat the MRI because it was normal 4 months ago.
In this scenario, you'll choose the best response for a CLP customer based on the information in the channel kit.
Along the way, you'll handle objections and try to obtain referrals as a result of informal conversations.
So these are custom crafted messages to get a result. Immersions foster experiential learning from students. And our products tend to be engaging.
Training your people is an investment in your business. We know that learners want to take an active role in their education. So our e-learning courses present key concepts in an engaging multimedia format that inspires your learners to interact and explore. Our e-learning isn't just pretty, it's smart. We build custom e-learning curricula, complete with instruction, opportunities to practice, and scored assessments. Our training concepts are presented in short, modular, focused sessions. This enables learners to get the message and then get on with their day. And if they need a refresher, they can quickly revisit the content they want at any time they choose. Stormwind e-learning, inspiring interactive knowledge transfer.
And one way to introduce and sell people on learning from you is to motivate them. Thank you very much for your attention. We're Stormwind Studios, we're local, and look me up around the conference if you want to talk more. Thank you. There we go.
We're going to continue our LaunchED series this afternoon. Next up we have IntelliMedia. Teledemia. Judd Ratner is co-founder and CEO of this company. In what began as a student project, Judd led the development of Concourse, an online syllabus management solution, from inception to its use by hundreds of thousands of students, instructors, and administrators. He is regarded as an expert at course syllabi and has presented on the strategic use of this document at technology, faculty, and assessment conferences across the world. Today, he brings us Aptiater.
Hi again, my name is Judd Ratner, and I'm CEO of IntelliDemia, and what we're doing today, though, is we're going to be introducing a new product, in fact, even a new company right here at LaunchED. So I want to bring to you API Adapter. It's an API translation tool for education. I think it's helpful to start a little bit with, though, the challenge that we were facing. And what that is the integration of enterprise tools is extremely difficult. It's time-consuming and expensive for companies in education. Why is that? Well, there are multiple integration standards. The way that, in particular, learning management systems implement these types of tools, like standards, like learning tools interoperability, can be varied. And then even if you get those pieces right, you end up with inconsistent or even sometimes inaccessible data with your tools. So the promise of standards-based interoperability has just really, it's never come true. I do think it's important to speak briefly on what LTI is, and LTI is designed to provide a seamless experience between the learning management system and some third-party tool. And what it does is within the consumer, the LMS, it launches, so it signs you in, you know who the user is, you know what the course is, you present a tool like Concourse, like a syllabus management system, back into the learning system so that it is a seamless experience. There are a number of systems that support this. It includes Blackboard, it includes Sakai, Angel, Moodle, desire to learn, a number more, but just not out of the box. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take you through 3 examples, and those examples will showcase why something like API Adapter is so valuable to the industry. Behind door number 1, college number 1, they have a situation where there is a dual LDAP scenario within their campus, and they also are using the Angel LMS. So they have mixed authentication protocols, and that is one particular challenge. Behind door number 2 is a college that is moving from Blackboard to Canvas, and they also happen to have a portal. So they have new user and course parameters and formats that need to be addressed. And then behind door number 3 is a school that has Moodle as their LMS and is also looking to incorporate static syllabi. So that in and of itself presents a challenge because it means they have to do multi-section to a single syllabus within our tool. So we needed a more general approach to integration. And so that's why I present to you API Adapter. It's an API normalization platform to effortlessly integrate enterprise education systems. Now, from an architecture standpoint, this is a little bit what it looks like. So it's a hosted service that will actually consume requests that come out of the LMS and provide them to your third-party tools. In a little bit more technical way, this is what it does. So the teal section in between is this new service that we are introducing. And what it does is it helps with authenticating. It helps by passing certain parameters, transforming certain parameters, debugging, and logging, all in this one service package. So let's return to those 3 examples and how API Adapter can actually solve those challenges for campuses. In the case of college number 1, we can do the authentication, we can pass the course identifier, the user identifiers, but we can also consume LDAP, another type of authentication technology, and pass that into the system at the same time as well. So it eliminates the need for custom authentication tools on behalf of these campuses and reduces the implementation time. College number 2 is the school that is moving from Blackboard to Canvas, as I know many schools are, and they have a situation where in the move, the user identifier itself is actually changing. So what the API Adapter tool does is it takes something that was a username, it turns it into an email so that it can be used in these third-party tools, and it does the SSO part at the same time as well. And college number 3, what this does is it does not only the authentication, but it takes into consideration what course sections are, and it strips those out along the way so that it presents the appropriate syllabus. I have a couple of screenshots here from API Adapter to sort of show it in action. And this is what you'd see on your dashboard. So it'll be showcasing all of the different integrations that you're launching on your campus. It shows how many requests that you have going through. It shows in particular where you can receive the API launch and how many are for this week, for this month in total. You can look up certain transactions. So again, another thing you can do is you can go after issues that you would be finding and debug them very, very quickly. And this is an example of one such transaction. It shows on the left side what's coming in, on the right side what's going out, again, to help with the implementation and the integration of tools on the campus. Now, I want to get back to just a couple of additional details outside of the technology. Well, basically, where we're moving here is to make these user configurable. So any campus can start this service up and at least to some degree for free, be able to implement this type of tool and make their systems interact much more quickly and much more easily than ever before. The model is going to then be based on a transaction, per transaction type of thing. So if you happen to have hundreds of thousands of logons, we'll be charging in the order of fractions of a penny for those sorts of things, and that's how we'll develop our monthly subscriptions. And we've already started with launching this tool, so we've got a number of clients as of March, and then are looking for more today. So to leave you with what's next, number 1 is to expand our use cases. So if you happen to either know of schools or instances where something like integration into learning management systems is a challenge, we certainly want to speak to you. We also want introductions direct to the clients. I know that there are a number of those here in this particular venue. Third, forming industry partnerships. That's probably one of the things that is most helpful among this group of folks. So for anybody who happens to either be in the learning space or anybody who's trying to integrate their tools or knows of companies that are integrating their tools in the learning space, we certainly want to be speaking to you. Building out the team, which in general is going to start by raising some money so that we can experience some stellar growth. And with that, I want to close up by thanking everybody for taking a moment to listen today. This is API Adapter. You can get in touch at judd@apiadapter.com or find me at any other time during the conference. Thank you.